I want to get into this topic with you because let's talk about LCK. We just finished watching it. We'll make that the first topic. Here's where I want to start, Yamato. Even though we haven't yet watched T1, so there's not that big a deal, but I want to ask you this question. I actually feel like this drama, if we just go to the Gumayusi Smash thing, and especially now we know that there's fans on either side that hate the move, I think the weirdest thing is you've also put yourself in sort of a lose-lose. Like, I can see what they were going for, essentially. And by the way, this is why, I'll just put this out there. This is why I get why, if people don't understand why Dom, if you go watch Power Spike, Dom was really triggered about this. Not like a normal one where, like a streamer, you find a way, like, right, crack, better get like outraged because that's like sort of the thing I do as a stream. It wasn't like where you just do it performatively. Dom was genuinely really pissed off with this move because if you think of how Joe Marsh presented himself in this offseason, he presented it as he wasn't even just concerned about T1 Yamato. He put that weird thing in there, the story about the idea that like Zeus almost got like, I joke that he almost got like kidnapped or press ganged into joining the LPL, but then Como was like, whoa, who's in that barrel? Zeus! And then like brought him out and they got to steer, because they almost make it sound like that. They don't really, but you know what I mean? They make it sound like he had no say. Oh, what the hell? Help, please! I'm blinking twice. I don't want to be in the LPL. Like, even though, as far as I can tell, he might have even been up for that. Who knows? So anyway, when that happened, one of the things Joe Marsh dared to do was paint it that he also really cares about what's best for the player. So he tried to imply that, it'd be best for the player to stay in T1. That was obviously his angle, right? My problem with that is this, Yamato. If you say that, but then you allow this rookie Smash to play really well, by the way, not be the reason the team loses, and then bench him, as far as we can tell, just for popularity reasons, and also, as far as I can tell, to potentially scapegoat him. I know he didn't explicitly do that, but when you come sixth, and the one thing you do is go, get the one guy who didn't used to play when we won Worlds out the lineup, that does make it look like you're almost saying he's the reason we came sixth, which a fan, they're not super smart, but they can pick up on that. They get what you mean by that, and some of them obviously agree. Some of them think it. Well, you've seen the comments, bro. People's logic, as far as I can tell, is Gumayusi could never ever play bad because he won 2 Worlds. Like people keep saying it. I keep telling them he was. He wasn't playing great the first few weeks. Yes, but he is a 2-time world champion. How many worlds did Smash win? It's like, fuck, we're not even talking about that. So anyway, that was working. But now I feel like it's actually like a lose-lose, Yamato, because no matter what happens, like, if you imagine, right, if you lose now, you get hated on anyway, but from either side. Like, then the Smash fans will be like, why didn't you play Smash? Then the Gumayusi fans will probably blame Thorin or Choma. Who knows where it'll go now? But I feel like you've actually put insane pressure on yourself for this split now. Now you almost have to win the split for me, Yamato. Like, and the reason why I bring this up is I actually do feel like this is how you know people like Dom don't actually hate T1. If he really hated T1, what he should have done is a silly angle like Thorin won 4 of the last 5 splits. So T1 should be even better now. Now if they don't win everything, they're failures. No, everyone made their expectations quite reasonable. I think most people had T1 probably to be the 3rd best team in Korea and to like be a borderline world's team. Well, now they actually don't have the pressure to win again because the move they've implied is that it's going to get them back to the top. What do you think about T1 this split? What are your expectations? Do you have concerns about this aspect? What do you think?
Well, it's weird because the way they ended was good. Like they could have they were the team that was the closest to beat How Alive.
Yeah, and that's aged pretty well though. After they did 5 games with everyone, it looks better, doesn't it? Yeah,
like that was a game they could have won. They had like the Nash push. I think they could have ended the game there on the final one, and they seemed like in a good place. Like in the beginning, it was like Owner and Faker were only the ones performing, but Doran seemed to really find himself. Like he was doing quite well into Zeus, which is like a really big deal because we talk about Zeus. In essence, like many times, I thought that he was just the best performing player in the world throughout this year. And like Doran did fucking wonderfully. And it seemed like Korea and Smash really put it together. They were competing in lanes against fucking Delight and Viper. Even earlier in the season when they had the series against Gen.G, which was like a really big breakout one for Smash, they just seemed to be like on the right path. And considering they like bolstered their coaching staff, they had Mata in there. Like you could clearly see like a level of progression that was very rapid. And it seemed like from that point of view that the T1 had turned a new leaf because in the previous alterations, of course, it was always like the same pattern. Like if the draft fell in a place where they got away with playing, of course, you know, the supports that Korea loves, the dynamic ones, the range ones, and Zeus could find counter picks that made sense together with the jungle that Owner played, then everything flowed very beautifully. When he could play like the Vi or whatever, the Sejuani, to make sure that they have some buttons and tools in the game to make sure that they can get away with playing playmakers, and of course the support position, like carry champions in the support position and carry champions in the top position. But now, like in this dynamic, it seemed like they had such a wide range of what they could play. It wasn't like in this slot T1 is the best team in the world and the other ones they are struggling. Here we could see T1 do so many different things. So now adding Gumayusi, it just changes the dynamic of everything again, because at least they're playing best of threes. But the fact that Fearless stays is probably, a negative thing for Gumayusi, considering if he's playing the Caitlyn, the Varus, the Jhin, the Kalista, I am super, super happy most of the time. You're playing standard lanes, no lane swap. That should be very, very good for career Gumayusi. But if they proceed into best of fives and they have the whole plan of using both Smash and Gumayusi, I'm like, fair play, that's fucking brilliant, that's genius. But I'm so afraid that they're not going to line their pockets with this fucking competitive fuel that they have, with knowing they have a 6-man roster with Smash. I like, they're gonna stare down the barrel of, let's say, game 4 of a best of 5 at some point in the split. And then they're sitting there and they're like, oh, Zeri is open. We have like all the carry champions, Zeri, Kaiser, Ezreal. That's the pool that's ready. And then you see, like, you look to the left, you have the T1 fans. Look to the right, there's Joe Marsh, ready to write a statement. He's just staring in the eye of Mata and Koma, and they're like, shit, should we make the decision that will make the team flourish? Or should we send in Gumayusi and force him to play a game of Zeri? I don't know how that's gonna fucking play out. But from if the only purpose is to compete, which might not be the case right now, then I think the T1 can do some serious fucking damage. I think as long as Faker continues with the same form, I think it's good usually when Faker gets a break. That's usually like a good thing. The fact that he didn't go to first stand and has more time to rest, that seems to be something that helps Faker a lot and T1 in general a lot, because usually the press tours that they need to do and all the media and all the scrimming and all the practice and of course all the streaming, it just seems that weighs very heavily on them, because usually the break before Worlds, they perform, break before Spring, Faker performs. I do think that T1, there is opportunity. I think they're good enough to cause some upsets. They should be top 3. I think it's hard to rate them above Genji, How Alive right now, but it shouldn't be easy for the other teams to beat them, for sure. And I think the magic of D+ should wear out. I don't think you can put D+ over T1 right now.
No, that's why actually the bomber, if your D+ was, you had your window to do it. That was the playoffs. When you were in that upper bracket, that was actually a real chance to, at the minimum, make the final. That's the bomber. Or if not, by the way, outright just win. Yeah, absolutely. Everything looked up. Everything was going amazingly. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.